Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Mull to 4. This week we're going to be going over our pre-release, or the pre-release, and what happened, and go through what decks we built from our pool, and go through our wins, losses, and everything else. I guess I'll start because my story of pre-release is going to be 10 times quicker than Joe's.
One of us did well.
One of us. I basically went for Liliana as my starting Planeswalker pack sort of thing. And as I was opening my packs, my promo was a Dark Petition, which I was like, okay, I can't really play it because it's okay. But
You have no way to get rid of it.
No, that's the Demonic Pact. Dark Petition is the tutor and then 3 if you've got Spellmaster. But I was a bit like, it's not the best. So, anyway, as I was looking for my packs, it was becoming more and more evident that sort of a black-red sacrifice deck was the way it seemed to be going. I'm just going to have a quick flip through my cards. I opened 2 Active Treasons, which is good for stealing opponents' creatures and stuff, for sacrificing. A couple of Fiery Conclusion, which you need to sacrifice a creature to burn your opponent with Shadows of the Past, so every time a creature dies you get to scry 1. There was a couple of Nantuko Husks in there. And some other okay stuff, and basically it didn't work because what I found I was doing was wiping out my own board to try and get the triggers to click, and nothing would actually happen. On the other side of things, it was okay. I managed to go 3-1 in the end. Sometimes the deck functioned really well, but I think I got a bit short-sighted when I saw red and black and thought, oh, that looks really cool. Because halfway through the evening I looked through my rares and turned out I had 3 sort of blue bomb rares, and I was like, oh, I should totally be playing blue as well. Aside from that, I've got a Read the Bones in there, which I saw once throughout the entire 4 rounds that I played, whereas I also had an Evermore Helion, which I saw a lot more. It was okay, as I say, I went 3-1. We joked about it a lot before, and annoyingly my first round was against Joe, and
it happened.
Joe will tell you all about his deck, but it was pretty horrendous compared to mine. But yeah, it was just, I ended up changing my deck halfway through, basically because the sacrifice deck wasn't really working, so I tried to put in it a couple more red things, making it a bit more aggressive. Bogart Brute was pretty cool. Menace was a hell of a mechanic. The only issue I had was where he was a 3-2, he was like and where he has Menace, he was sort of like a lightning rod for any sort of removal, which was a bit of a pain in the arse. Looking back, I don't know why I really went red-black, because I got literally next to the removal in either of them. No Reef Souls, a couple of Weights of the Underworld, which seem overcosted for what they do. A couple of Fiery Conclusions, again you have to sacrifice a creature to do so. And then a Chandra's Fury, which is, again, 5 mana to deal 4 damage to a player and then 1 damage to each creature. So in terms
you did that to me.
Yeah, but in terms of creature removal, it didn't really...
No.
It wasn't really popping, it was just a bit like...
I think it killed 1 creature. Didn't?
Maybe. The issue is that with the set there is a lot of 3-2s.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing 1 damage to each, it's like, well, that's not really done anything. I would have liked to have seen like some Reef Souls and Eyeblind Menace.
I think it was just at that point in the game where you just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Just to use the card.
This was the thing. I found myself sitting on Fiery Conclusions for so long because I was like, if I can get them down to 4 life, that's fine. I can kill them with it. But it seems super conditional, where it's like you need to sacrifice a creature, and then if they've got creatures, you're just dicking yourself out because you're like, I'll sack my creature to do 1 damage to all of your creatures. And it's like, well, no, that's not even Fiery Conclusion. Fiery Conclusion is 5 damage to a creature, so it's like, well, sacrifice one of yours to potentially kill one of theirs. But
yeah.
People were just building such big boards, and unfortunately I didn't have any like Thopter creation.
You couldn't get a good trade.
Yeah, an amazing play I did have at one point though was my opponent had an Evermore Helion on field, and I managed to Active Treason it, hit him with it, which he was like, yeah, no blocks, and then after hitting him with it using a Fiery Conclusion, sacrificing his Evermore Helion and then killing his other creature with it, and just being like, how's that for a ball wipe? It was okay. It was, as I say, I found myself burning through my own creatures more than I wanted to and I needed to. Like actual, although the removal's not great in Origins, actual removal would have been a lot better. That's not.
I think the thing is you want to get a lot more benefit out of it if you are having
Yeah.
to do that and you weren't finding that.
Yeah, and I mean, even I can't sit here and blame the entirety on my pool because I did get some good cards. I just was not smart enough, I suppose, to actually look and realise that they were there, and I made some stupid mistakes, like I stupidly attacked when my opponent had dropped an Outland Colossus with my one defender, and after doing it, I was like, oh yeah, shit, that happens. Fetid Imp as well, you wouldn't have played it because you're not playing the colours, but Fetid Imp's cool.
You can give it Death Touch, can't you?
For 1 black, you can give it Death Touch, and it's a 2/1 flyer or a 1/2 flyer. I believe it was a 1/2 flyer. It was cool. It was some serious harass, a 1/2 flyer, some serious harass, and you just sort of sit it there, and then people people will hold back their big creatures because they don't want to run it into an imp. It's just going to be Death Touch, get it. The only other sort of bomb rare, well, I did get another 2 bomb rares I was playing. One of them was, I'm going to horrendously pronounce as well, Kuthaped, the Soul Hoarder. You probably can't see that.
Cod Hophead.
Hothead. He was cool. He was like a definite game ender, and when a 6/6 flyer comes down, it was a bit like not a lot of people can do something with it. And then the whole when something dies, you draw a card, which I always managed to play when I had enough life not to kill myself with that. The only other one I had, which I put in a bit later, was Flame Shadow Conjuring, which was pretty lackluster. I did have, you can basically copy a creature, or make a token, pay an extra red to make a token of a creature as it comes into the battlefield. I did have one nice play at Against Haste where I pulled in an Enthralling Victor, who, as he comes in, you can steal a creature with power 2 or less.
Yeah.
So I paid 4 for him, paid an extra 1, so copied him. Unfortunately, my opponent only had 1 creature with power 2 or less, but I was like, okay, steal your Cutthroat Marauder, or Death Touch Marauder thingy, and I was like, okay, swing with the token for 3 and just hit him for a bit more. It didn't really help at all, but I was like, well, perhaps I had some creatures that had good ETB effects.
Yeah.
Or were a bit better than that, it would have been pretty cool, but yeah, it's as I say, I went 3-1. Again, this is my stupidity on the pool, did manage to pull a Nissa, and I think this was like pack 2 or 3, I pulled it, and by this point I was like, no, black-red, it's got to be.
Yeah.
I've got 4 relatively playables for my seeded pack, that's how it is, that's how it's going to be, sort of thing. So, stupidly, I totally overlooked the Nissa as well. Joe, if you want to carry on, and then we'll just talk about overall the pre-release if you would like.
Yeah, so like I said last week, I went for red. So Chandra as my Planeswalker representing.
Sorry, my face then was because I thought you meant a red deck. I was like, what do you mean a red deck?
Oh, right. So I actually ended up, as it went for, I went completely teamer. So red, blue, green, which once people were watching me playing my games and they realised I was playing those 3 colours in sealed, they kind of looked at me in a way that they were kind of proud that I was making it work, but also disgusted that I attempted to do that.
You weren't the only person playing a 3 colour deck.
Wasn't I?
There was quite a few people playing 3 colour decks.
Oh, okay.
I don't think, spoilers, I don't think anyone did as well as Joe.
Yeah.
But when he dropped 3 colours against me in the first game, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah.
You know this isn't, we're not on Khans anymore. Sort of thing.
So, I can't remember how much I said last week, but basically I was hoping to get a Shivan Reef and Zendikar Incarnate, because one, I wanted Shivan Reef for a deck that I'm building in real life, outside of the actual sealed event. And I wanted a Zendikar Incarnate just because I seemed to be the only person that loved the actual card. So I had my sealed pack, nothing great. My promo card was Embermore Hellion, which I was going straight in my deck, but there was nothing like fantastic or really that valuable that came out of that. And then in my first booster pack, I got both Shivan Reef as my rare and Zendikar Incarnate. Which I was just so happy with, and then I didn't kind of really look at the other cards in that. I was just so astounded that I managed to pull 2 cards that I'd mentioned that I wanted.
These are all I need.
And then it was kind of very similar to you. It was in my head from that point that, okay, I've got Shivan Reef, I can go red-blue, and I've got Zendikar Incarnate, so I'm probably going to want to put green in it as well. And then once I'd opened up all my packs, I realised there was quite really good options in all of them for me. I'm just going to go through my deck that I constructed. So 1 Shivan Reef, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mountains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 forests, and 4 islands. So I did 1 less island because I had the Shivan Reef option as well. So I kept it quite even because I needed to make sure I got 1 of each land out at least in a game. Yeah, good cards so far, right?
Yeah. It's a solid base.
And then my red cards were Subterranean Scout, Acolyte of the Inferno, which is the 3/1 with Renowned 1.
Yeah.
And it can shock a creature if it becomes blocked.
Just to interrupt Joe, I stupidly managed to run my Ember Hellion into an Acolyte of the Inferno, which was another one of my stupid things.
Oh.
Right, and he's like, okay, you take 2 damage, and then I hit you for 3, we trade. I was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's a nice little trick. I got Thopter Engineer, which I've kind of come back to later because there was kind of a Thopter theme with the synergy in my deck. I had an Act of Treason.
Such a good card.
This card was really good for me. My favourite moment with Act of Treason was I was playing in my final round against my opponent, and I can't remember the name of the creature, but it was a 6/6 that couldn't attack unless you had 7 or more cards in your graveyard. My opponent played it, and he said, "Oh, I've only got 5 cards in there at the moment, but once I have 7, it'll be able to attack." So I kind of glanced over at my graveyard, counted it, saw I had exactly 7 cards in my graveyard.
So dirty.
Act of Treason next go, stole it, and was able to swing pretty much, and then win that game.
Act of Treason was heavy. Like, it did some serious work. The disgusting thing about it was, Renowned with Act of Treason, if their creature's not renowned, because it's like you steal their creature, hit them, it gets renowned, and you give it back to them, and it's like, fuck, do I want to do that? Or
True.
Because you're like, do I want to give you renowned?
Yeah. I had Lightning Javelin, which is also a story about, but I'll save that for a bit later. Skyraker Giant, I'm very happy with that again.
Really damn good.
Prickle Ball, which on your go becomes a 5/3 with first strike, and that was, nobody liked to see that when I brought that out.
No.
So that told me all I needed to know. Ember Hellion, like I mentioned earlier, was my promo. Then into blue, I had Disperse, which I guess when I had the spoilers before, I didn't kind of notice how good this could be. But it was an absolute all-star for me on Sunday.
The first game, when I was playing against you, reminded me of how much I fucking hate blue.
Yeah.
So it was just like, drop this, no, you can put that back in your hand. I was like, man, tempo. What am I supposed to do? And when you've got like...
It's for 1 and a blue at instant speed.
The annoying thing was, it's the tempo of blue.
Yes.
Your next card as well, Anchor to the Aether, was also horrendous against me. And then it's like, you've got some serious punch in terms of the creatures as well. And I was just like, man, I'm getting my face pummeled in, and there's like, he's flinging my dudes out of the way sort of thing. It's horrible.
So Disperse can return any non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So sometimes I wasn't even doing a creature, I was doing one game, I did the enchantment, not against you, but it's the same enchantment that you've
Shadows
got.
of the Past.
The one that allows you to scry 1
Yeah,
when a creature dies, because that was actually really powerful. Then being able to scry sometimes like 7 or 8 times just off that card.
When you're trading creatures, it's like, okay, I get to scry 1 and then 1, it's not scry 2, but it's like, scry 1, don't want that, scry the next one.
Yeah.
It could get stupid, definitely.
As Mike said, I had Anchor to the Aether as well, so put it back on their library. It basically means they can't draw a card next turn, as if you've returned it to their hand, you get to scry 1. Artificer's Epiphany, which is basically my card draw. I did also have Thopter Spy Network, so once that kind of got up and going, that allows you to draw a card for each artifact creature that deals combat damage. So that was really good. With Artificer's Epiphany, there was only once when I didn't control an artifact, so I had to discard a card. But it didn't really bother me too much because you get to just choose what you discard anyway. So you take out a useless card.
If you're okay on land, you just be like, well, I'll chuck this land away.
Yeah. Jessin Thief, which has prowess, is a 1/3, and whenever it does combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Now, I had one game where my opponent either is one of 3 options: either kept forgetting that I was able to draw cards off this, or they were giving me too much respect, thinking I had a combat trick up my sleeve if they were going to block, or they just didn't read it properly.
So what you're basically is that you kept hitting them and drawing cards.
There was one game I drew about 6 cards off Jessin Thief. And
again, act of treason with Jessin Thief was fun.
So yeah, like I said before, Thopter's Spy Network, and I've got a couple of artifacts later which I'll kind of go into, which helped trigger Thopter's Spy Network, as it needs an artifact to get it going. Orchard Spirit, so it's basically just a 2/2 for a green and 2 that can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach. Every single game I had this, it acted as a flyer.
That I saw it twice throughout the event, and fuck me, was it horrendous. When it hit the field, I was just like, I almost can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Because it is just.
It was a 2/2 flyer for me at all points.
It
was getting in a lot of damage.
Flying but not flying.
It was another all-star of mine, I'd say. So that's the start of green. Also in green, I've got mono green. I've got 4 other cards. So I've got Yeva's Force Mage. When it enters the battlefield, the target creature can get +2/+2 until the end of turn, which was relevant at some points. Sometimes it was just a card that I could afford to bring out, and it didn't actually do anything.
What's he at 2/2/3 normally?
But there you get a 2/2 for 3. So
that's okay.
Farrakhan's Disciple, which I was really happy that I pulled, and I think anybody that would have pulled one should really have been thinking seriously about going in green. And
hi.
Did you get one?
Nope.
You didn't?
I did, but I didn't go into green because I was like, the issue I had...
It's so good.
Not to cut Joe off or anything, the issue I had was I was looking and I was like... I totally didn't look at blue because everything I'd read and looked at, they were like, oh, blue's not great. And I was just like, well, I've got some good stuff in white, some good stuff in green.
Yeah.
Black and red is good, but they were all pretty mediocre, and blue was like the best colour I had, and I chose to totally ignore it. I was just like, yeah, fuck it.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
Well, basically, you pay your 4 mana. He starts off as a 2/3 with Death Touch and Renowned 1. It would, when you brought this out, nobody would like to see it come out. It's
getting renowned, basically.
They don't want to attack into it. They don't want you to attack with it. They just want to think about all the removal spells that they've got in their deck and the likelihood of them top decking it. Wild Instincts, which was really good for me, cost 4 mana. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and then it fights a target creature that my opponent controls. So it was always a removal spell.
Yeah.
Removal spell first, main phase, keeps the +2/+2 while I swing in.
Big punch more.
It was really, really good. Just going to go on to my last green card.
You can say what it is, but I'm not giving my opinion after you said.
Okay, so I've got 5 more cards after this, but this is Gaia's Revenge. Costs 2 green and 5 colourless, and it's an 8/5 elemental which can't be countered, has haste, and can't be the target of non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources. At one point, I had this out on the battlefield alongside Zendikar Incarnate, which, with the amount of lands, I think was a 7/4 or an 8/4 at that point. So I had a good 15 points of power between 2 creatures, and it was
disgusting.
It was quite disgusting.
Quick. Gaia's Revenge. I remember looking at the spoilers and thinking, it's expensive, it's an 8/5, it's not too much. And then it's one of these cards where I was pretty underwhelmed by it, but until you see it being played, you're like...
I think played in sealed.
Standard as well, to an extent.
Do you think standard?
Control decks, maybe.
Okay.
But I was just like, when I saw that you had it, or when I saw... when I saw it in your deck, I was like, I rethought that and I was like, yeah, holy fuck, that's like a horrendous card. Because especially where it can't be the target of non-green spells, there's not a lot of ways around it to an extent.
One of my opponents did manage to kill it, even though he wasn't in green, with Touch of Moonglove on his creature.
Because it's not targeting.
And he very much traded up
yeah,
in that.
But then how many times was Gaia's Revenge on the field punching the shit out of him before that?
I think in that instance it was only one.
Okay.
But apart from that, really good card until.
It's such an amount of threat as well with the other stuff you've got as well. So
yeah. And then with my I got really quite lucky because where I decided what 3 colours I was going for, I managed to pull in my 6 boosters a card which was basically the 2 colour combination of every 2 colour combination I was running. So I had the Bounding Crisis, which is the green and blue.
Which I didn't expect when you played me. And it was fucking annoying when I getting bounce my thing back. I was like, man, I just want to keep dudes on the field.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit harder to cast, but at the end of the day it's a free for free, has flash, and then it doesn't bounce, it just taps or untaps a creature.
Sorry, it taps.
But
sorry.
It was always pretty good. I was always happy to see it in my hands. I had Reclusive Artificer, which was the blue-red combination. 2/3 with haste, which I did at one point stupidly play in my second main phase, and then looked at it and went, oh, it's got haste. Pass the turn.
Your turn.
And then it just goes well with the other artifacts that I had.
Comes in?
The effect: enter the battlefield, deal damage to target creature equal to the number of artifacts you control, which I don't think actually killed any creature that when I brought that in.
Maybe in limited if you're playing some horrendous artifact deck.
Yeah.
But
for me, I only had.
Sorry, not limited. Maybe it's standard sealed.
Yeah.
Not as much.
Yeah. So it was a decent enough card to have in my deck. Zendikar Incarnate, which I love, and wasn't an all-star for me, but wasn't terrible either.
The most worrying thing about Zendikar Incarnate is when it gets dropped on turn 4, and you're like, okay, and then slowly, turn by turn, you can see it ticking up and not being able to do anything about it, and you're like, this is really getting out of hand.
Yeah. I had my 2 artifacts, one which was Guardian Automaton, which is just a 3/3 for 4. When it dies, you gain 3 life. It was fine. It was one of the latest cards that I included in the deck. And then a card called Angel's Tomb, which is apparently a reprint of a really old card. But basically, it costs 3, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it becomes a 3/3 white angel artifact with flying until the end of turn. Now, when I put this in my deck, I didn't realise how much synergy it had with Thopter Spy Network. And it wasn't until I was against my 3rd opponent, I played Angel's Tomb turn 3, Thopter Spy Network turn 4, and the biggest sigh from my opponent, moan and grumble.
So he's going to get hit for 3 each turn unless it can stop it.
Yeah, because, I understood that the artifact would bring alive Thopter Spy Network, but I hadn't thought, Thopter Spy Network is going to spit out a new artifact each turn, a new creature each turn, which is going to activate Angel's Tomb each turn to become a 3/3.
Yeah.
And then he had to even tell me on my next go that it happened, because I remembered in my upkeep to bring out the Thopter, and then
no.
Then he went, that triggers Angel's Tomb, and I went, yes, yes it does.
Way to keep your mouth shut, buddy.
Yeah.
Annoyingly,
yeah.
As I was constructing my deck, I had Angel's Tomb sat there, and I was like, yeah, Angel's Tomb's decent.
Yeah.
And I cut it for some other piece of shit, and then I was just like, last game I saw it come out with you, and I was like, for fuck's sake, this card I cut that you're currently doing so well, and I'm like,
yeah. So I'll just go back to Lightning Javelin, because basically the story around that is if there was one game, my final game, if I could have resolved it, I would have won the whole day, I reckon. Basically what happened was the first 3 opponents I beat, So I beat Mike
Boom.
rather handily, 2-0.
Not having it.
Won my second and third games. In my fourth, I was against this really quite controlling blue-black deck. I'd won the first game.
Adam Trotter, for anyone watching, who was piloting the blue-black deck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Adam, yeah.
I like the way you like. Nice. Yeah. That guy. Yep.
So I'd won game one, which went on quite long, and then on game two, I got him down to 2 life, and I was on 9 life at this point, and I had Lightning Javelin in hand, and like the blue-black player that the deck that he had would do, he had all his mana open, but I had to try and Lightning Javelin him because if it resolved, it would end the game. So I even said it like this, I just got the card, paid my mana, I'm going to attempt to Lightning Javelin
I'm going to run this
you.
into a negate.
I just knew it would be a negate, and it was just negate. Yeah, of course it's a negate. And the funny thing was also with that, is that after I'd won the first game, and I was looking at my sideboard, I actually had 2 negates, and I did think about putting them in my deck, but I didn't.
The funniest thing you said about that, when I went to game day last time, I played against 2 control decks. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, one of which was Daisy playing in, I believe, it was an Esper control deck. And she beat me game 1, and this is testament to a fucking Esper versus Sultai, I suppose. Beat me game 1, and game 2, I was like, well, I need to try and do something, so I sided into control.
Right.
And I was like, okay, disdainful strokes are coming in, negates are coming in, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I was just like, I need to try and it's probably a really stupid idea, but I was like, I need to try and out-control the control player.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it worked. Like, any of her big stuff, like Ojitai, Silumgar, Narset, I was like, no, get rid of it, no, kill it, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, managed to get to game 3, but by that point I was like, look, we've got 5 minutes left on game 3, we might as well take a draw now, because there's no way we're going to play it out, sort of thing.
Yeah, so what we ended up doing in the end was like he negated it. In my mind, I was thinking, why didn't I bring in negates so I could negate his negate, which I would have had the mana open for, which would have been a brilliant way to do it. That means I would have gone 4-0. You know, I'd have been first or second. As it happened, me and Adam Trotter ended up deliberately drawing the last round. So we had about 5. It was either the 5-minute call or the 10-minute call, and we were just looking in our sideboards for the third and final game. He proposed the draw. I went for it because I felt genuinely we both played really well and we both had really good decks.
I was watching the game at this point, and I had a total brain fart when Adam was like, we could draw, and then
you were like, why?
I was just like, oh,
yeah.
And my brain could not process it, and it had to be explained to me that 3-0-1 is better than 3-1.
Yeah.
But
so
obviously, but
I mean, part of it was, I was happy to go undefeated.
yeah,
his deck was scaring the hell out of me when I was playing it.
The thing is, anyone else, and I don't care who they think they are, anyone else in your situation would have taken a draw there, because why wouldn't you? I could risk. Well, you're
I don't see anything
you're
bad
going to
about
draw
it.
anyway because there's 5 minutes left on the round.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Count out life totals and then go, actually, I win.
Yeah.
No, it's not happening.
So that was good. I mean, in the end, I came third, which I was astonished with, because out of 40 people that were there, that is by far the best I've ever done at a tournament.
That's insane. There was. Do you have any more to add? Because I'm just gonna.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, because I came third, I won 7 packs. Everybody got a pack for just turning up anyway. But the sad news of the day was that out of the 6 packs in my original set, plus the 8 that I'd won, so 14 in total, I didn't get a single Planeswalker. Whereas the guy who was drafting next to me, who was also called Joe, managed to get 2 Nissas, which is the most valuable Planeswalker.
And the price of this is horrendous. I didn't realise until I looked it up. But, I opened a pack, and I don't want to sound like I'm pissing on your chips. May not won today. Like
no, you got one.
Won the day.
You won the value.
When I opened a Nissa and then shifted the Nissa and saw a foil talent of the telepath behind it, I was like, the fuck?
See, that 1 pack was probably worth more than all the cards I opened on that day.
Possibly, pile driver.
Oh yeah, I got a Goblin pile driver.
Pile driver is expensive. So that is pretty much the podcast for this week.
Yeah.
We just wanted to go over what happened in our lovely time down at Prerelease.
Phone the pre-police.
I just want to say a massive thank you to anyone who came along and made the event a massive success. As Joe says, there was 40 people there. It was pretty insane for our locals that there was that many people. Very well organised. We are, well, this will probably come out on a Friday, but we are going to be at draft tonight, I suppose, if this comes out on a Friday or Friday night.
We're filming this on a Thursday, so we'll be there tomorrow, basically. I just wanted to say I was actually quite overwhelmed with how well the first video did and how everybody seemed to like it in our local scene. The most humbling and lovely thing was, and I'm going to name names like Daniel King, I'm sorry mate, I think your name's Chris Sharp or Chris Smith. Chris Sharp. Yeah. And Alex Crowley all coming up to me and Daisy as well, mentioning something, and I was just like, that's amazing. I didn't think, or we didn't think that any of you guys would actually watch this and to come up and be positive and friendly about it was amazing. And I checked it today, and last week's video has actually got over 100 views. Wow. And you know, like we said on the video, you know, please like, comment and subscribe, and we actually got likes, comments and subscriptions, which is really cool to see. For a first video, as you say, you can't expect it on the first video, but it happened. Sorry mate, I can't remember your name, but Daryl Harding, nicest thing ever when you said that you'd watch like most of the videos. That's awesome, man. Like, your support is one of the reasons we're going to keep doing this. And that's like it was so nice of all you guys to just say how's it going, how you doing, and all the rest of it, and thank you. Yeah, so thank you also to everybody that played us at Prerelease. We had a great time. Had some fun. Yeah, definitely. So again, next week will be draft stories from tomorrow. Yeah. Hopefully I'll see how we get on. I'll be able to look at my pool this time. Maybe Mike will get his revenge and get to defeat me. maybe I won't go 3-1. But yeah, once again, remember to rate, comment, subscribe. If you have any feedback, tell us how you did at your pre-release. Pop it all down below. Again, until next week, this is Mike and Joe signing off. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Goodbye.